Hello everyone and welcome to another video. A lot of you guys might be new to my channel after you saw how I destroyed Mittens the chess bot. For those of you who don't know Mittens is a new bot created by chess.com and it had the chess world quaking in its boots for a little while. Hikaru was not able to beat it, Magnus didn't even want to play it, and I beat it in a game, but I was told later that they have been moving around a little bit with the levels. And when I played it, it was a little bit weaker. Some of the other chess streamers also managed to beat it. But chess.com put out a tweet a couple days ago, which said, "We recently fixed an issue." I know the scene is a little bit off. "We recently fixed an issue that was causing Mittens to not play at her full strength. Sorry about that." Now I thought, okay, I'm going to play Mittens, and I'm going to play this bot until I beat it. And I'm going to share a game with you guys that, again, you definitely want to see. Before this game, I played 8 games against Mittens, only managed to make 3 draws, lost 5. The bot is still an absolute boss. But let's have a look at this game. In this game, I opened up the game with the move 1d4. Also, on another note, I didn't even play the bot with black. I was like, okay, my only chance to beat it is going to be with white. Alright, so I play 1d4. And again, it played the Dutch defense. In some of the other games, it played more solid, like the Nimzo, the Queen's Gambit declined. But okay, the Dutch. So when g3, again, I don't think the Dutch is a good opening. We're nice people, but the opening is not that good. Knight f6, bishop g2, g6. So we're following the same game that I had against Mittens a couple days ago, in which I managed to beat the bot. So castles, castles, c4, d6, knight c3, knight c6, b5, knight a5. We're still following the game. And b3. I'm defending the pawn on c4. Again, this does open up the diagonal, and black has some tricks. So Mittens played a knight e4, attacking the knight, but here we go knight takes c4. If black takes with the pawn, we go knight d4, moving the knight and blocking the bishop's attack on the rook. And white's better because the pawn on e4 is weak. And in case of c5, again, we take en croissant. I analyzed this in my other video, and bishop e2, and white is quite a bit better. So Mittens decided to take up the challenge and take the rook on a1. And the follow-up is knight eg5. And as I explained in the other video, white has a lot of compensation because black's king is pretty exposed. The e6 square is always super weak. I can try to go knight d4 to e6. The knight on a5 is off, and it's very difficult for the knight to come back. I mean, look at all of these squares. It's just shut off from the game. So Mittens played the move c5, making sure that I cannot play knight d4. And in the other game that I played the move h4. But it's actually slightly inaccurate. Mittens in that game played bishop g7. I played h5. It played h6, knight e6, take, and Mittens plays g5. And here black was actually better, but it went wrong later on. The mistake that it made was that after e4, it waited way too long with bringing the knight back. But I checked the game briefly afterwards, and it said that in this position, after c5, I should play the move e4 right away. Opening up the position, again, we want to go after this king. And so Mittens played the move h6, attacking the knight on g5. I can go back, but I don't really want to. So I played knight e6, forcing this trade. The drawback of this trade, however, is that now the knight will be able to jump back to c6 at some point in the future. But Mittens played the move f4. Again, let's have a look at the position. This pawn at h6 is under attack. This bishop on a1 is always loose. But mainly I want to go for moves like knight h4, maybe take, bring in the queen, and just go after the black king. Right, so Mittens with the move f4 wants to try to slow me down. But I just continue my attack anyway with knight h4, hitting the pawn on g6, which is always super weak. And the problem for black is if black plays a move like queen e8, I always have bishop d2, with the idea that I attack the bishop on a1 and the knight on a5. So again, things are pretty difficult for black. Mittens decided to take on g3. I recaptured with the pawn. And again, how does black defend this pawn on g6? Because the pawn on g6 falls, black's king is wide open. So Mittens played king h7. I played queen g4, taking the pawn on g6 once again. Again, in case of queen e8, I have bishop d2. And we attack the bishop on a1. Oh, not like that. My mouse died, so I'm doing this with a touchpad, showing real dedication for you guys. And hitting that at a5, and white is winning once again. So Mittens played rook f6. But now, again, e5. Sacrificing this pawn and clearing the way for the bishop. Or if we get this bishop into the game, this king on h7 is going to feel a lot of heat. Mittens took, bishop b4, and here Mittens plays an excellent defensive move. I thought that she had to play queen e8, but Mittens played the move queen g8. and not only is she defending the pawn on g6, black also wants to go queen takes e6, offer the queen trade, and so it's not easy for white. For example, if I go king g2, black can take here, this is the line that I calculated, and queen h5, black has to move bishop f4, blocking this diagonal, and black can take here with a check. So this doesn't work, so I continued with the move knight takes g6. Black has to take, because if you take on e6, now there's just like knight f8. With a double check, and we win the queen. Alright, so Mittens had to take the knight, but now I play king g2. And this rook on g6 is in an eternal pin pretty much. It can now move out, and I just want to go rook h1, rook h6, and black's just getting checkmated. Because you can't, how are you going to defend the pawn on h6? You cannot go bishop g7, because then you're blocking your queen's defense. So Mittens played the move queen e8, so that after rook h1 she could play bishop g7. But here I played another very accurate move. I played the move queen h5, attacking the pawn on h6 once more. And how is black gonna defend it? Right, the queen's already defending the rook. The king is stuck over here. So Mittens decided to bring the knight back into the defense with the move knight c6. I take a knight e5. And you might be thinking here like, wait, how is this even possible? How is black not getting checkmated right away? But it's actually not that easy. For example, if I take on g7, black takes, and the king is kind of escaping. If I give a check, first of all, maybe even king f8 or king f6, and this is not what you want to do, right? Like if you play like this, you might actually very well lose, because the bot is just going to play perfectly from some point. But I went for the move bishop f4 check. Black has to move back, and we just take the knight. And again, this rook is under attack, and it's not clear what black is going to do. If black takes the bishop, for example, I just take the rook. Material, I'm up a pawn, and I have a devastating attack. My idea is very simple. I want to go like queen h7 and bishop f7, and then queen g8 checkmate cannot be stopped. Now, if black plays the move rook h6, then I have the move queen g5. Again, hitting the bishop on f6, and if black takes here, I take an h6. Again, I'm up a pawn, and the attack is just crushing. So what does black even do? Because, I mean, if you take the bishop, then, well, again, I take here, I have an attack, I'm not even down material. Or wait, actually, this move is inaccurate. I should play this first. Check. And the lines are very pretty. You take here, queen c6, bishop e4, and if takes, bishop d5. It all works out perfectly, because you attack the queen, and there's queen g8, checkmate. Alright, so after bishop takes e5, Mittens played rook f6, but now I gave a check on h7, king f8. And here I felt like there are many ways to win. I was also looking at moves like rook to h4, with the idea that if black takes rook g4, this is probably crushing, but I went for a line that I was 100% sure that it was winning. I went for bishop takes f6. Now, if black takes with the bishop, I think the easiest way to win is something like rook h6, and simply rook g6, and the black cannot stop the checkmate. This pawn on e6 is always such a thorn in black's eye. So Mittens decided to take with the e-pawn. Now, bishop d5 looks pretty good, but black still has queen e7. So I decided to sacrifice this pawn. Now if black takes with the king, we take here, and we're up a bishop. So Mittens decided to take bishop d5, threatening a checkmate. And this really showcases the power of an attack when there's opposite colored bishops, because I'm attacking on the white light squares, and black has the dark squares. So black simply cannot defend the light squares, right? Mittens played king e8, but now I gave a check, king e7, and rook h7. It's just game over, because not only is black losing a piece, black is still facing a devastating attack. So Mittens played bishop f8. I traded the rook for the queen, and now queen f7. I mean, there's nothing black can do. He's just getting absolutely obliterated on the light squares. Rook e8, check, king d8, bishop f5, rook h8, but after queen e6, again, how are you going to stop the checkmate? So Mittens gave up the rook. I took king e8, king h3, a6. I was like, well, let me just bring my king up the board. I mean, I don't even see what black can do here. b5, king h5, a5. Well, take the pawn, a4, b6, king f8, e7. We queen, and checkmate. So, pretty nice win against Mittens. Very happy that I managed to beat the nerfed version. Hikaru actually also made a video about the game I played earlier, and he also said that there was an issue, but it seems that Chess.com has fixed it. We played Mittens in God mode, but we still managed to beat it. So I hope you guys liked the video, and I look forward to seeing y'all in the next one.